In the Osuji family, legacy wasn't an abstract concept. It was a physical weight. On your 25th birthday, you were brought into the family's private study to inherit your piece of the foundation. A dense, glowing obsidian stone that powered the family's real estate empire and guaranteed their continuous wealth. Obina stood at the head of the long mahogany table, his rings catching the light as he looked down at his youngest son, Chidi. Obina's own stone pulsed with a heavy, aggressive crimson light, a reflection of the ruthless decisions he'd made to keep the family on top for 3 decades. "It's time, Chidi," Obina said, his voice echoing with an absolute authority that left no room for debate. He pushed a small, unlit piece of obsidian across the wood. "Bleed onto it. Tie your ambition to the family name and take your place as the director of the new sector." Chidi looked at the stone, then up at his father, and finally at his older siblings sitting around the table. His brother and sister sat perfectly straight, their own stones glowing a faint, uniform red. They looked like extensions of their father, corporate soldiers who had long stopped asking questions. "No," Chidi said quietly. The silence in the room became absolute. Obina's crimson light flared, casting sharp, angry shadows against the walls. "What did you say?" "I've looked at the acquisition logs for the new sector, Dad," Chidi said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. "We aren't developing that land. We're pricing out 3 generations of local businesses to force a foreclosure. The foundation of this family isn't enterprise anymore. It's a parasitic chokehold." His older brother, Tochikwu, leaned forward, his eyes flashing. "Shut up, Chidi. You enjoy the lifestyle this family provides. Don't act like you're above the work it takes to maintain it. There's a difference between work and destruction, Tochai," Chidi fired back. He turned his gaze back to his father. "You called me the black sheep because I wanted to invest in community-owned infrastructure instead of buying up their debt. You said my ideas were childish. But the truth is, you're terrified of a business model you can't completely control." Obina stood up, the sheer pressure of his crimson aura making the crystal chandelier above them rattle. He slammed his hand onto the table. "You think you're a visionary? You're a boy standing in a house I built. If you don't bind yourself to this stone tonight, you walk out of this room with nothing. No title, no capital, no family." Chidi looked at the unlit stone on the table, then at his father's furious face, and finally at his siblings, who couldn't even look him in the eye. He realized the crimson glow wasn't power at all. It was a cage. "Keep the capital," Chidi said. He stood up, stepping away from the mahogany table. "I'd rather build something small from the dirt with my own hands than inherit an empire built on suffocating everyone else." He turned and walked toward the heavy double doors. As his hand touched the brass handle, the unlit stone on the table suddenly sparked, not with his father's aggressive crimson, but with a sharp, brilliant, independent green light. It didn't take his blood to awaken, it took his defiance. Chidi didn't look back to see his father's reaction. He pushed the doors open and walked out into the night, finally ready to build a legacy of his own.